Hello, and welcome to 5 Minute Math. Today we are looking at the 7th grade concept of predictions from simple experiments. This is 7.6H Readiness Practice, the advanced version. If you're interested in exploring the 7.6H Readiness Practice for the intermediate or proficient versions, or the Readiness Practice resource aligned with any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description. So we have a table here. We surveyed 250 students about their favorite cafeteria food. Here are the responses. So let's look at our two questions here. If a student was randomly selected using the results here, these are our experimental results, which the student is 3 times as likely to prefer pizza. So here's our 75. As what time? As what type of food? So 75 equals 3 times what? Well, 3 times 25 is going to get me 75, which means I'm looking at pasta. All right, so we just have to interpret this and say that 25, if you multiplied that by 3, you would get up to 75. Now, if the student was uh, randomly selected, the student is equally likely to prefer chicken nuggets. Okay, so chicken nuggets is equally likely to prefer chicken nuggets as to what? 3 types. Okay, so I need 3 different foods to make 50. Well, let's see. If I did 16 and 14, that's 30. But you notice that there's no 20 up there. There's nothing else big enough except for tacos. So those are my next two biggest foods other than the tacos, which makes me think I'm going to definitely need tacos in here because I don't have anything else that's big enough. So I'm definitely going to need tacos. And if I take 34 from 50, right, that's going to leave me with only 16. So I need 3 types of food to get that. So that's not going to work. So let's keep going. This is a guess and check. So these two, grilled cheese and salad bar, don't necessarily work because I don't have a 20. Tacos is almost too big. So I thought I needed that, but then that only leaves 16 left. So we might need some other smaller ones. So let's see what happens if we get this 15. Okay, so let's look at other. So we're guessing and checking. If I do 15, that gets me with 25 left. Ooh, look. I could do fruit cup and salad bar because that's going to give me 25. All right, so if we're counting other as a type of food, we could say they are 3 times as likely to prefer chicken nuggets as they are salad bar, fruit cup, and other. So those are difficult types of problems. Guess and check is usually a pretty solid strategy. Next, we're dropping a tennis ball from a height of 100 centimeters, measuring the height of the first bounce. And you see this frequency chart here. All right, so based on the results, which height is more than, not just twice as likely, more than twice as likely to be recorded as the least recorded height? Okay, so our least recorded height is 3. Okay, so something is going to be more than twice 3. All right, so 3 times 2, because we had to do more than twice as likely. So what is greater than 2 times 3, which is 6? And it's got to be 7. So the more than is probably the trickiest right there, because if we just said twice as likely, we would have said 83. Okay, so, and then we would have said, what is that bounce height? So our bounce height is going to be 82 cm. So watch all the words there, because we had to watch out for that more than twice as likely. Based on these results, if the student continued to bounce the tennis ball until the mode, all right, so we have to know what the word mode means. That means the most recorded. So that's going to be our 82 again. if it quadrupled, what would their frequency be? All right, so there's two words that they don't define that we just have to know. What does the mode mean? That's the most recorded. What does quadrupled mean? That means multiplied by 4. So it's really just 7 times 4, but we have to know some vocabulary. Mode means most recorded. Quadrupled means multiplied by 4. So I'm going to say 7 times 4. If we quadrupled it, it's going to be 28 times. Put that in our box. And then finally, if the student dropped a tennis ball until the bounce height 82 was recorded 63 times. So our 82, we're back to that 82. We want to do that 63 times. So how many more sets would we need to do to get up to 63? Well, 7 times what makes 63? Hopefully we see that times 9. So how many times would the bounce height of 80 and 81 be? Well, I'm going to take both of those. I'm going to multiply that by 9. So if I've got 9 times, the 4 and the 5 also make 9, 9 times 9, that's going to give me 81. So you would record it 81 times. If you kept getting these same results, and the bounce height 82 is up to 63 times. And third, we have a spinner, and we've got a rhombus, triangle, circle, trapezoid, and pentagon. All right, so let's get our diamonds or our rhombuses over here, and let's say I've got 1, 2, 3. I just want to go ahead and get my pictures over here so I don't have to count each time. Circles, 1, 2. Got a triangle, a isosceles triangle. 1, 2. And then I've got a trapezoid. 1, 2. And I've got one lonely pentagon. Not a good picture of a pentagon, but that's going to work for us. All right, so we're going to write some statements here. The likelihood of landing on a rhombus as compared to likelihood of landing on a trapezoid or circle. So a rhombus is 3, and trapezoid is 2, and circle is 2. So we could say it's less likely. So that's going to help us. And so just for a little bit of room, I'm going to end up putting these down below. And so I'll write this down here. I'll say you are, and we'll say less likely because 3 is less than 2 and 2. Land on a rhombus. And then we need to name the other two. Then what are we looking at? Trapezoid or circle? All right, so for our next problem, 2, likelihood of not landing on a triangle. Okay, so how many total do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10. Okay, so how many not triangles are there? Well, there's 2 triangles, so I've got 8 out of 10, right, are not triangle, and not pentagon. There's 2 pentagons. Okay, and there's also 8. So those are going to be equal. You could have said landing on a triangle, landing on a pentagon, not just added a little bit of confusion there. So we'll say you are equally likely. And we'll go ahead and put not in there. Let's capitalize it, not land on a, we'll just name both of these. Triangle, as you are, to not, let's make that capital, land on a pentagon. All right, so for number 3, trapezoid or pentagon. So my trapezoid is 2. My pentagon is 1, compared to landing on a rhombus. My rhombus is 3. All right, so equally likely. All right. So once we get those numbers, we just have to write these statements. So we can say you are, let's make that U look a little bit more like a U. You are equally likely, and we'll finish this out, to land on a, what are our two shapes, trapezoid or pentagon, as you are, and then a rhombus. All right, if you are interested in exploring the 7.6H readiness practice for the intermediate or proficient version, or the readiness practice resource along with any other standard, you can find those by using the link in the video description.